Hello. This presentation is to go over highlights of the Santa Cruz County's sanitary sewer lateral program and some changes that we've had that will hopefully improve the program. We're going to go over the who, what, why, when, what's new, what's next, where, and how of the program. First, I want to talk about who weighed in on the changes we've had to this program. When this program began, it was very new to everyone, and there were a lot of challenges that we had to overcome. And during that time, we had a lot of feedback from different homeowners in the community. We met multiple times with realtors in big groups and also one-on-one to get their feedback. And we met with plumbers who were out doing the inspections and repairs and got feedback from them. We also incorporated feedback from our own staff who talked about how we could better process all the documents that were coming in and things like that. So we had a lot of people that weighed in on these changes, and the program is running a lot smoother, and I hope it works a lot better for all those involved. So who does this program affect? Everyone that has a property, that owns a property within one of the districts that the county manages, which include the Santa Cruz County Sanitation District, the Freedom County Sanitation District, the Davenport County Sanitation District, and the 5 community service areas. Those are all areas that the county manages their sewer system. And so if you have property in any one of those areas, you must comply with the county's sewer lateral program. If you're curious if your property is in one of those areas, or if you're a realtor representing someone and you want to know if their property is in one of those areas, what you can do is you can go onto our Public Works website, and right there on the left-hand side, there's a link to the county GIS. A window will open up and you can enter the APN or the address for the property. You can expand on the side in the legend the different shadings for the sanitation district. And another way you can do it is you can click on the blue eye and then click on the parcel, and it will tell you what district you're in. We also have maps if you don't want to use the GIS. So if you go to, on the Public Works website, the sewer and water link up at the top, and you can click on the district maps, and they're all also linked here. So this is the Santa Cruz County Sanitation District. It also includes the city of Capitola. It does not include the city of Santa Cruz, but it includes the unincorporated areas of the county in Live Oak and Aptos, SoCal, those areas. The Davenport County Sanitation District is shown on this map. The Freedom County Sanitation District is in 2 separate pieces, so that is an area where you'll definitely want to check to see if the property lies in one of our in the sanitation district, or if it is in the city of Watsonville's jurisdiction. And then we have the maps of the different community service areas, or CSAs. So what is a private sewer lateral, and what is a private sewer collection system? What are the responsibilities of the owner of a private sewer lateral? And what is the county's new and improved sewer lateral program? So the code was a bit confusing before we made these changes, and we've worked hard to more clearly define the responsibilities based on what kind of sewer system you own on your property. So a sewer lateral, the definition of that is where underneath the building and within the house you have what's called the house plumbing or the building sewer. So we don't have jurisdiction over that. But as soon as it comes out of the building, past the building face, you enter into what's called the private sewer lateral. And the homeowner or business owner owns that entire lateral until it connects to the public sewer main. And they also own the connection to the main. So you can see in this diagram, there's the public sewer main down there out in the street. And from where the pipe leaves the house, right at the edge of the building, all the way to where it connects to that main, including the connection, is what is the private sewer lateral. And maintaining it and repairing it is all the responsibility of the owner of that property. And you can also see there's a clean out. Lots of times there'll be a clean out right by the building. It could also be behind the sidewalk. Sometimes a clean out was not installed. We do require a clean out be installed, but sometimes they're not there. And to get your sewer inspection, you may need to have the plumber first install a clean out because you know it's going to be required by us anyway. Or they could take off a toilet and do the inspection that way, or go through a roof drain. Or roof vent, excuse me. So another definition that's important to know is a private sewer collection system. So a private sewer system that serves 4 or more units is called a private sewer collection system. So right here you see this development with all the different lots. They all have little connections to these main lines that are highlighted in yellow. And all those lines are what is the private sewer collection system. The county does not maintain those lines or repair those lines. Those are the responsibility of the people who live on that larger property. And then that system ties in to our system down in the main line out there in Capitola Road. That's where it connects to the public system, and that's where our responsibility begins. And so sometimes each homeowner is responsible for certain portions of the private collection system. Other times an HOA or someone's responsible. So that's defined in the CC&Rs for the property, hopefully. And there's a lot of different arrangements for that. But what you need to understand is that there is more than 4 units connected to these systems. If there's less than 4 units, it's called a shared sewer lateral. So here's 2 diagrams showing a shared sewer lateral. And you can see that both Unit 1 and Unit 2 are tied into this lateral. And our code requires that when an inspection is done on a sewer lateral to meet the requirements of the sewer lateral program, the homeowner needs to video their entire lateral to where it connects to the public main. So in this first picture, if Unit 1 was going to sell, they would need to video, I have a clean out here outside the house, and they need to video the whole red portion all the way to the main. And they would need to fix anything wrong in that part because they're responsible from their house to the main, unless there's some sort of written agreement between those property owners that says otherwise. But in an instance where there is no written agreement, per our code, that is their responsibility. However, if Unit 2 were to be for sale and Unit 1 is not, and they need to do the video inspection and repair on their lateral, they would video from their clean out right by their house. They're responsible for the piping outside their unit all the way down to where it connects to the main. So again, it's all the way to where it connects to the main. So you can see there's some overlap there. And the person who's responsible to do that video and that repair, it depends. If there's no written agreement, it would just depend on who's having the property sale or the remodel or something else that triggers our requirement to video the line and repair it. So we have different codes, but they're all pretty similar for our different districts. And I have this table here that lists what code section you can look at to find the requirements for maintenance, repair, and inspection. And then also codes that reference how easy access is supposed to be ensured for the county to come out and look at the lines. So this is some code references for you, and I'm sure you don't all want to spend your day reading sewer code, so I'm going to do some more highlights here. So for the owners of private sewers, so this is owners of private sewer laterals, owners of private collection systems, owners of shared sewer laterals, all those people are owners of private sewers. So what they need to do per the code is maintain the private sanitary sewer collection system and private lateral in a fully functioning condition and ensure that the lines are free of cracks, fractures, leaks, inflow, infiltration of extraneous water, root intrusion, and open joints. They need to ensure that there's no excessive sags that collect grease or sediments in the line because that can cause backups. They need to inspect the private sewer lines to ensure that they're in good working order, and then keep records of all the maintenance and repairs and provide them to the district upon request. And a clean out is always required, and a backflow device may be required based on building elevation. So I'll talk about that here with our next slide. So these are some pictures. This top one is a clean out before it's been backfilled. You see the sewer lateral coming across the lawn with the clean out sticking up there. And the clean out is a way for the plumbers or the homeowner to access the line, to do inspections with a camera, or to flush it out, snake it, things like that. It's also a place where if there is a problem in the sewer and sewage starts to back up, hopefully it will back up out of there. And so one thing you can do to protect your property is install a backflow preventer. And we require these when the lowest finished floor elevation, so your first floor or your basement if you have one, if it's not higher than 12 inches above the nearest upstream manhole, you need a backflow preventer. And this helps keep sewage out of your building or your residence if there is a problem in the line that causes a backup. So there's a flap that you can see in this diagram, and as the sewage backs up, the flap closes, and then the sewer will back up either out of the clean out or some other place that isn't inside your house. So we always require that every house has a clean out, and then again, based on elevation, a backflow preventer might also be required. Now, what is the county's sewer lateral program? So it is verification of proper sanitary sewer function through video inspection by a licensed plumber with completed lateral inspection form, county review of the provided video and inspection form, required repairs by a licensed plumber, and county approval. And why? Why does the county need a sewer lateral program? And why does the county care about private sewer laterals? You might think this because it's on your property. It's your responsibility to repair and maintain it, so why does the county get a say? And the reason is that things that are out of sight are out of mind, and they are deteriorating and they're causing problems for the overall system. So here you can see some things that could happen. There's a clay pipe that's crushed. It could have been backfilled improperly and maybe in a shallow trench and driven over by vehicles, or there could be a tree that's causing it to fracture. Then you see a cast iron or steel pipe that has rusted out. You see this next one is Orangeburg. It was a pipe material made out of tar paper that they thought would be a good idea, but it really wasn't. And everywhere it exists right now, it pretty much needs to be replaced because it's just all falling apart. And then you see this clay pipe that has just been completely filled with roots. So roots will look for any way to get in through a crack or a fracture or through a joint that isn't done well. And once they get in, they're thirsty, they're looking for the water, and then they find the water along with a lot of other yummy stuff in your sewer, and they grow and grow and grow, and they can fill up the pipe like this. And some people might say, well, my sewer lateral is made out of plastic. It's PVC or ABS, so roots aren't a problem. And while they are usually really good pipes that hold up and don't have much chance for roots to get in any cracks, if there's an improper joint or other defect in the pipe, a root still could get in and cause a problem. So these are some other pictures of common lateral problems identified by video inspection. There's roots hanging down, there's a fracture in a pipe, there's an offset joint, there's a pipe with a belly, we call it, it's like a sag where all the sediment and grease collect and then cause backups. And there's a definition on here for an offset joint. So an offset joint is when the joints in the pipe aren't properly aligned and the ends of the two pipe segments called joints are offset from each other, so much that the pipe leaks at that junction, or also water could get into that junction, and we call that an offset joint. And why does the county care about the private sewer laterals? Well, we need to eliminate inflow and infiltration. So of course we also want to eliminate exfiltration, which is sewer getting out into the groundwater. But it's also important for us to eliminate the inflow and infiltration. So inflow is shown in this diagram in black. It's direct water just flowing into the system from stormwater. So there's a roof drain connection, there's a foundation drain connection, there's an uncapped cleanout that water can get in, and a faulty manhole cover. There's even a cross connection out there with the storm drain. So the storm drain water is going directly into the sewer. So these are all cases of inflow. We're also trying to get rid of infiltration. That's when groundwater can seep in through different cracks in the pipe or faulty joints. So they're shown here in the diagram in the white text. It's the broken side sewer where you have the root intrusion, because if roots can get in, water can get in, and also sewage could get out. So, and then there's a faulty lateral connection. A lot of times that is where we see repairs needing to happen, is where the lateral connects to the sewer main. It's just, was done a long time ago, or wasn't done properly, or the materials used, may have been an old technique or something that isn't watertight. And so that faulty connection could also be a source of infiltration, And then when this happens, when it rains, water just gushes into the system, and this can become a real problem. So here's a diagram showing how our sewers become overloaded when it's raining. So you can see that the foundation drain and the roof downspout are just feeding into the sewer, and the sewer has filled up, and it can spill out into the street through the manhole, go over to the other side of the street, get into the storm drain, and then come out into our waterway. So it's really dangerous for our environment, for public health, and also it's just really expensive because we have to size all of our sewers for all this extra water. We have to maintain these huge lines, and then we have to pay either the city of Watsonville or city of Santa Cruz to treat all of this sewage, and it's much larger quantities than what we call our dry flow, which is what our flows that we see in the summer months when there isn't rain. So there's a ton of water getting into our system, and this is what we need to eliminate. And without this inspection and repair program for private laterals, we're leaving a big part of the system open to all this water. Here's just another diagram showing kind of what happens. So we have a small pump station over here. It's filling up with water. The pumps are becoming overwhelmed. If the water gets up to the inflow pipe elevation, then it can spill out the manhole in the street, which is what you see in the next picture. And of course that can go into the storm drain systems and pollute our waterways. And it can also cause backups and go into your residence. So there's some really nasty sewer there in your bathtub. You don't want that. And it can be much worse than that. At least that one was contained to the bathtub and didn't come out all over the floor in a basement. So that's the reason you want that backflow preventer we were talking about earlier. So when must owners comply with the sewer lateral program, and when are videos of laterals required? So owners must comply now. This requirement was put into the books, into the code for the Santa Cruz County Sanitation District in 2006, and the other districts and CSAs followed in suit in 2011. And then now, based on us really starting to enforce the code back in 2018, we've done these revisions and they are taking effect in 2019. So the Santa Cruz County Sanitation District code goes into effect on September 14th of 2019, all the revisions, and the rest of the districts and CSAs will also go into effect shortly after. When are the videos required? Video inspection and all required repairs must be completed prior to the close of escrow when connecting to an existing lateral, which would be like if you had a building that had been demolished or abandoned and you're going to build a new building on that site and you want to use the existing lateral that was on the property, or maybe you have a active building on a site connected to a sewer lateral and you want to build something and connect it to that existing lateral. We require that you video that lateral to see that it's in good condition for your new connection. And we also require you to do the video inspection when you're going to do a remodel or a building addition on your property. So what's new with this code, the code amendments that we're talking about here? So the code amendments affect the responsibilities of the lateral owners. The seller and buyer may agree to request transfer of responsibility for repairs, which is the main complaint we heard about this program when it first started, is there was no way for this transfer of responsibility to occur. So we're really glad to be able to offer this now with the revised code. We've streamlined the county process for document sharing, and there's new forms available for the escrow process. So some of the highlights for these 2019 code amendments for private sewer lateral owners. The requirement for flushing of private laterals every 18 months has been replaced with a general requirement for the owners to maintain the lateral. So they just need to maintain their lateral and flush it as often as they see fit. There's no longer a timeline required. The owners shall have their lateral video inspected by a licensed plumber every 10 years and maintain records. So we're not collecting these records, we're not reviewing these videos, but what this does is it puts people on notice that they need to inspect and maintain their lateral and lets them know what condition their lateral's in. So then when they do go to sell their house or do a remodel, they're not in shock about the condition of their lateral because they've been inspecting it with a video every 10 years. And now when there's 2 sewer overflows in a 6-month period, it was previously a 12-month period, it triggers the requirement to get a replacement of the lateral because we want to really protect the environment and protect public health. So if you've had 2 sewer overflows in 6 months on your property, there's an issue with that line that needs to be looked at by a licensed plumber. We've also clarified that when there's a connection to an existing sewer lateral, a video inspection is required with plumber review and county approval of that lateral. That was what we were already requiring, but the code wasn't super clear on it, so we clarified that. And there's a trigger for video inspection for remodels that we have defined clearly as any remodel that increases square footage of the building or increases the number of fixture units beyond what was permitted. So every time you build a new house or do some sort of remodel, the county keeps a record of how many fixture units you're permitted to put in. And fixture units have to do with things that use water, like showers, toilets, sinks, things like that. So you have an amount that's tied to your property on record at the county as your permitted amount of fixture units. So if you are doing a remodel and it goes above that amount of permitted fixture units, we're going to require that you get the video inspection done and do any repairs that are required. And the code is now clear on different penalties for different things, and intentional violation of the escrow requirement of the code could lead to a misdemeanor charge. So some highlights about the transfer of responsibility. The requirements of the lateral ordinance need to be disclosed by the seller to the buyer at the time of escrow. And the seller is responsible for obtaining the video and the completed county inspection form from the licensed plumber. The county will then review the submitted video and form and determine what repairs are required. The buyer should make themselves aware of the cost to make the required repairs. And then the buyer and seller need to sign the transfer of responsibility form if they agree to it, saying that the buyer will make the repairs. The county must accept the transfer form, allowing that transfer of responsibility from the seller, because in the code it requires the seller to make the repairs, to the buyer prior to the close of escrow. Then the buyer, once the county accepts that form, has 90 days from the date the county accepted the transfer of responsibility form to make the repairs. The county has started using Box Drive for document sharing and document collection. So this has been working really well for us and really well for the plumbers and realtors and homeowners involved, because letters are no longer needing to be sent out. Things aren't getting lost in the mail or sent to the wrong address, or, it just allows as many people that need to see the documents in real time. So again, for escrows, the requirements of the lateral ordinance are disclosed by the seller to the buyer. Then the seller hires a licensed plumber to video the entire sewer lateral, all the way from the edge of the building to the public main. And then they fill out the county lateral inspection form. The plumber uploads the video and the report form to the Box Drive and shares the files with the client and the county. Then the county reviews the uploaded video and report form within 10 days, assuming that all is completed per county standards. If the video isn't uploaded or if the form isn't complete, our 10-day window doesn't start. Otherwise, we start doing it within 10 days. We'll have it completed within 10 days. And then the county uploads comments to this Box Drive. And then the seller completes the repairs required by the county prior to the close of escrow, or they transfer the responsibility to the buyer by obtaining the county approval of transfer form. So this is all done with the plumber having a file on the Box Drive for that particular property, and the county being invited to join that file when the plumber uploads the video and form. And then the plumber can also invite the realtor or their client, the homeowner, whoever, to view all the documents as well. So it's a really good tool for file sharing. Here's just some little snips of the lateral inspection form. You can just see at the top it gives instructions for how to complete the video and the form. For escrows, there's a place for the realtor name and realtor email address. There's a part where the plumber fills in the different codes for the pipe, if there's a sag, if there's a damaged joint, if there's roots. Then the plumber will recommend any work to the lateral, sign it, date it, write their license number, because they must be a licensed plumber, and then do a sketch. And the sketch is super important to us because the county doesn't currently have very many records of where people's sewer laterals are. And it's a common question we get from homeowners all the time about, where is my lateral? Why don't you know where my lateral is? Well, as these reports are coming in, on the sketch, there's a requirement to write the distances from the edge of the building to the lateral, and where the lateral is, where the clean out is along the line of the lateral, and how far the clean out is from the main and the street, and all that. So it's a great way for us to just keep a record of where the lateral is, and it also helps us understand the video that we're watching. So once the video is uploaded and the comment form is uploaded and the county reviews the plumber's comments and video, then we review them, and then we write our review of that video and form. And so we will mark on here if there needs to be a re-video for any reason or if the form is incomplete. But assuming that the form was completed by the plumber and that the video is acceptable, then we will determine either that the lateral requires work, and we'll write what that work is. It could be a complete repair of the sewer lateral. It could be a spot repair. It could be lining. We could allow lining of the lateral to just seal up the joints along the length of the lateral, something like that. Or it could be that no work is required at this time. That doesn't mean that we're guaranteeing anything about the performance of that lateral. It just means that we're not requiring any work at this time for it to comply with the escrow program. There's also a box that says lateral work recommended, and we would check that if the plumber's recommended something that we think is a good idea, but we're not necessarily going to require it at this time. And then we can also just check down here about what district it's in. So if your lateral does not require any work, then we will stamp this form and sign it, and that's it for meeting our escrow requirement. You can just turn that paper in with your escrow documents to show to the buyer that you've done the inspection report, the plumber gave their comments, the county reviewed it, and the county has ruled that no work needs to be done on the lateral. However, if work does need to be done on the lateral, we won't stamp this form as your final proof that you've complied with the lateral program, because you need to get the work done. So you'll need to obtain a permit. So now there's two ways you can get a permit. As always, we allow people to come down to our sanitation counter. We're open from 8 to 5 in the Ocean Street Government Building. And you can come down and get a permit for the work. And it's good to call or email ahead if you want. We can have the permit ready for you. Our staff likes it when you come in because they can talk to you about the work, and maybe you could bring a sketch or something. They'll just help us add to that file so we know more about that line when other people come in and ask about it in the future, a future homeowner or something. Or the other way that you can get the permit is that we will bring it to you. Now, the thing to understand, however, is that you cannot start work without having a permit issued first. So even if we bring the permit to you on site, you need to let us know before you start work what you're going to do, the address, all that. We'll generate the permit. We'll call you back, let you know, okay, we have the permit ready. Now you can start work. And then you can start work. And when we come out to inspect the work, we'll bring the permit out to you. And we're just doing that to help people out so that they're not having to come down to the county. It's usually the plumber who's getting the permit. And so this just helps them have less steps to do in their day when they're out there trying to get all this repair work done. Here's an example of what the sewer permit would look like. It says up there in the yellow highlighted area that it's a sewer lateral repair. And we could bring you out this permit, check the work. The inspector will see if it's all been done correctly, if it fixed the problem that the county required to be fixed on the comment form. And if it did, we're going to stamp it, sign it, and then this is your official document that says that you have complied with the lateral program, that you did the repair necessary for the transfer of ownership of this property, or you've done the repair necessary so that you can connect a new building or proceed with your remodel or whatever the case may be. So this is the document that you would get stamped and signed to be included with the escrow documents or with your other permitting documents. Okay, so we've talked about all these things for owners of private sewer laterals, and now we're going to talk about for private sewer collection system owners. Like we talked about HOAs or other property management companies owning these systems that serve multiple houses. So what's next for them is we're going to notify them of the code amendments affecting their responsibilities. And these are some highlights of these code amendments. So remember, these are for private sewer collection systems that serve 4 or more units. So owners shall clean the entire private sewer collection system once annually and maintain records. And it's important that they notify the district they're in prior to cleaning the lines, because when they clean the lines, we could have a lot of sediment or buildups getting flushed into the public mains, and we want to be ready for that in case there's a spill caused by all this big inflow of debris. Also, pump stations need to be inspected annually. And then this is kind of the new big thing. So a lot of times for like a townhouse or a condo, something like that, the owner of the townhouse or condo may not be responsible for videoing or repairing any other sewer line, or it might just be a really small portion of the private collection system that's shared by everyone. So all the remainder of those lines that aren't covered by this escrow requirement, due to the individual regulations at each of these developments, are not being inspected per our lateral program. And so the code amendments clarify what to do in these cases. And what we're requiring is that the owners of these private sewer collection systems need to obtain videos and inspection reports from a licensed plumber for the entire system by January 1st, 2022. So we're giving them a couple years to get this done, and then they need to upload the inspection reports and videos to the box drive for our review. We'll review that, and then the next step is for the owners of these systems to prepare a maintenance program, and that needs to be submitted to the district by July 1st, 2023. So we're giving them a year and a half about from when they're turning in all their videos. And when the county is reviewing the inspection reports and videos, they're going to be determining what repairs are required and prioritizing those repairs. Like if we see a roof drain connected to a lateral, we're going to need that disconnected immediately. But if we see, there's some separation in some joints, that can be put off a while longer as the development determines how they're going to do these repairs. So with the maintenance program, the HOA or the property management company needs to submit a schedule showing how they're going to complete all the repairs that were required by the county's review. And we understand that many of these developments are large and they don't have reserves to pay for this. So we just want to be really reasonable in working with them to come up with a program to fix this over time. And then the video inspection cycle shall be repeated every 20 years, and the maintenance program shall be updated every 20 years. And just like for owners of private sewer laterals, they have the requirement that if they have a sewer overflow in two sewer overflows in a 6-month period, we need to have a licensed plumber needs to get out there and repair and replace that line. So where can you get information on the lateral program, and where can you get a list of approved contractors covered by the blanket encroachment permit to do work in the county public right-of-way? And where can you get a list of contractors who have signed the lateral program commitment letter? So again, if you go to our Public Works website, on the sewer and water page, we have sewer lateral resources. So this is the link here that you can go to. Some of our resources include this flow chart that show when you need a video. You can also see our list of approved contractors. So these are contractors who have already submitted their insurance information and other required documents to the county so that they can work in the public right-of-way without getting an individual permit. They're covered under a blanket permit. So these are not for contractors working in the city of Capitola. They will need to get a encroachment permit from the city of Capitola. But in other areas of the county, this blanket permit, if the contractor's on this list, they can do work in the public right-of-way. So that's like within the road, the sidewalk area, those types of areas. However, if the sewer lateral break only occurs on the private property, you can have any licensed plumber do that work. And really, you can have any licensed plumber work in the public right-of-way as well. They'll just have to come to the county to get an encroachment permit and submit their insurance documents and things like that. So the fastest way to get the work done in a public right-of-way is to choose a contractor off the list, but it's not the only way. And so we also have another list. So we had plumbers come and they met with us. They gave us feedback on our program, and we educated them about the requirements for the videos, for filling out the form, and we just talked to them about how important it is that they meet these requirements so that homeowners aren't having to get the videos done multiple times or having to resubmit forms because they weren't done properly. And the contractors that did this training with us, they voluntarily signed this commitment letter saying that they were going to provide videos and inspection reports meeting the county's requirements. So if you're looking for a plumber that has good background knowledge on our program and has signed this letter, you can get a list of them there. But any licensed plumber is able to do the inspection and the work. So here's some ways that owners and plumbers and realtors can comply. And we can also talk about now how the county and city's program differ, how you can help, and how you can get more information. So how do owners comply? Owners can comply by maintaining their private sewer lateral, installing a cleanout and backflow device where the backflow devices are needed, obtaining video inspections as required, and starting the process early. It's really important to start the process early so that anything that happens along the way, either with complications about the location of your lateral, sometimes it might cross a neighbor's property and you're not prepared for that, or other things like that could come up, or costly repairs. If you start the process early, you have time to deal with these things before you're trying to sell your house. And how do plumbers comply? So they need to provide videos that define a starting point. When we watch the videos, it's just a camera starting in a pipe, and we don't know where that location is. We don't know if they started at a clean out up near the house and are going down to the sewer main, or if they're starting at a clean out near the sidewalk and going back up towards the house and then coming back down to that clean out and then going back out to the sewer main and then coming back up to the clean out. It can be very complicated, so we don't know that unless a starting point is defined. And then we need to know the distances that the camera's traveling, because if there is a break in the pipe or something else that needs repairs, we need to know at what point along the lateral that repair is required. So the plumber can go out and make a repair just at that location if that's all is required. They need to film the entire lateral from where it leaves the building to the public main. They need to film it at a speed maximum of 20 feet per minute. And this is because we don't want to be guessing about anything. We want to give quality reviews and not require more work than is necessary. So if a camera is flying by a dark spot on a pipe, we might think it's a hole in the pipe, where really it could just be some guck or something stuck to the side of the pipe. So if it goes slow enough for us to see it, and the next point is that it's color and well lit with a clean lens, then we can have a better idea of what's really there and give a realistic review of the sewer and not be guessing, because we really don't want people to pay for repairs that aren't needed. And we do know that the lens gets dirty once it's in there, but if they could start with a clean lens, it gives us, the best shot at getting a good, clear video. The plumbers are required to pause at defects in joints for 5 seconds, again, just to allow us the time to really see what's going on. We'd like the camera to be kept as level as possible. We do not require a self-leveling camera at this time, but we do, it does help us if the camera stays in one rotation orientation, and if it rotates, if the plumber is doing a narration over the video, they could note now the camera is upside down, or sometimes in really clean pipes or really dirty pipes, it's hard to tell where the bottom and top and right and left side of the pipe is. So any kind of narration on the video helps with that. We need to have no flow in the lateral when the video is being done, and this is because anywhere where there is sewer flow, we can't see that portion of the pipe because it's covered by whatever is under that water level. And then uploaded videos and reports need to be uploaded to the box drive, and they need to fill out the inspection form completely. So how do realtors comply? They need to know the county's requirements, and realtors have been doing a really good job of coming to meetings with us to learn these requirements, and hopefully they're spreading by word of mouth, and hopefully they'll be able to just know what they need to tell their buyers and sellers, and we have some new forms to help them do that. So we also need to notify the sellers and buyers early, delay escrow closing if requirements are not met, stay informed, and start the process early. So how do the county and cities programs differ? So these are just some highlights, and it's not exhaustive at all. And really, you need to figure out which jurisdiction you're under and then look up that particular jurisdiction's requirements. So if you have a property in one of the county's districts or CSAs, you need to get a licensed plumber to video the lateral and complete the county inspection report. It can be any licensed plumber. The city has a specific list you must hire someone off of. It's their certified sewer inspectors list. And then those inspectors provide scores on the lateral. At the county, we have our NASCO certified county staff review the videos and make the final call on the required repairs. NASCO is the organization that shows how to code and score pipes. So our staff has been trained in that, and we use that knowledge in determining which laterals require repairs. The city is relying on their certified sewer inspectors, who I believe are also NASCO certified, to make the scores, and then the city's using those scores to determine which pipes need to be fixed, and I believe they're only reviewing the videos if there's been a spill. So for the county, for escrows, the county stamps the permit after the repairs are inspected and approved and uploads that to the box drive, or as I mentioned earlier, if no repairs are required, the county stamps and signs the county comment form saying that no repairs are required, and then that becomes your document you can use for closing escrow. The city provides a sanitary sewer certificate after the repairs are done. So the county, we do not provide certificates. That's only the city. So when the responsibility is transferred to the buyer with the county, they have 90 days from the date the transfer form is approved by the county to make those repairs, where the city and a lot of other jurisdictions have 90 days from the date of the property sale, from the title transfer date. We at the county didn't want to track an additional date. It's a lot of work for us to track all this, so we are just using 90 days from the date that we accept the transfer form. That way we don't have to worry about when the property sale actually takes place. And the county has no incentive program, but we do have no-cost permits. The city has a rebate program where you can get some money back for the repairs you do. And the permits used to cost money, but I recently heard a rumor that they no longer cost money. So you can check in with the city on what the status is for that. So how can you help? You can spread the word, provide feedback and suggestions, and show patience so we can all work together. So, we really do welcome feedback. I know that we've made a lot of changes, we've had a lot of improvements, but I don't think that we're done improving it. So please let us know what would help. Let us know what information could help you be changed on our forms or on our website or in our process. And as we start to involve the HOAs, I'm sure we're going to have more changes that need to come from that process. And then in showing patience, our staff is working really hard on this. We all had full-time jobs at the county before this went into effect, enforcing this lateral program went into effect. So we're doing all this work, which it's a lot of work on top of our normal workload. So we did not hire any extra staff, and the county makes no money off of this program. So it's a big, thing that we're doing here, and we really appreciate your patience with us as we try to serve you. So hopefully you can all just work together and make the program better. So how can you get more information? We have our website link here. Frequently asked questions are on our website. Those are the two best places to look. It really helps us when we don't get a lot of calls that slow down our video review process and other things. And then if you still have questions after you look at the website and the frequently asked questions document, you can email us at dpw.lateralprogram@santacruzcounty.us. This is really the only email address that you should be using. If you email a county staff person directly, they may be on vacation or out on maternity leave or sick, and no one else will get that message, and it could just get lost. So if you email this email address, dpw.lateralprogram@santacruzcounty.us, you will your message will get sent to a lot of different staff people, and we can make sure that we get you taken care of. There's two numbers here on the screen and also on our website. One is for just the general public works number that can connect you to our sanitation counter, and you can ask for someone who works with the sewer lateral program. And then the second number is our sanitation inspector hotline, where you leave a message if you need your sewer repair work inspected. And we require that you call at least 24 hours in advance. So some new forms we have on our website are the transfer responsibility form and the lateral program disclosure form to be used at escrow. We have the inspection form for plumbers. And, I just highly recommend that you always check the website for the most current form, because like I said, the program is constantly being improved and changing. So you can look there for our most current forms. And again, I hope that you really will provide constructive feedback on this, and that you can understand that even though this can be a frustrating process and a big expense, we're working together to just protect our environment, public health, keep water out of our infrastructure that causes it to be oversized and overwhelm our system and spill and have to be treated at the treatment plant. And also, just maintaining your sewer lateral is something that is just great for your property, just like painting your house or doing something like that to protect your investment. So I thank you all for listening to this presentation.